the notification button. Guys, this earring, why is it hiding? Gucci, I'm from SA Mara. Hey, why is this earring doing this? I'm still by myself. I wonder who's gonna join. The importance of clicking the notification button, guys. But anywho, anyhow, I didn't even announce it on my page. The possibility I'll be here by myself, but it's okay because with the YouTube, you can always watch it later. Hi, I'm Tisha Oliphant, born and raised in South Africa, currently traveling the world. And today I want to talk about my personal experience in Malaysia because that was the last or the previous country that I had visited. Oh my word. Malaysia, Malaysia. So Malaysia is one. I see someone. Welcome. I said I shall continue by myself and see how many people have noticed. I can't believe the connection is gonna let us down like this. Hey, Bali. Someone said just buy a SIM card because you're gonna have nightmares Wi-Fi. Ngathi no, I made a promise. I can't be buying SIM cards for every country. I'm trying to turn this earring around. It always faces the other direction. Why must I hide where I'm from? So welcome, my people, and thanks for joining. Yeah, I'm talking about the country that I had visited just before I came to Bali, and I see our number is increasing nicely, and this earring is gonna disturb me, but soon I'll just forget about it. So I was in Malaysia. Malaysia is one of the countries that I've always loved. I've always wanted to go because of the greenery, because of the forest rain. Nje, guys, Malaysia was my dream country, and eventually, after Cambodia, I said, Malaysia, here I come. I was there for 2 solid weeks, believe it or not, 2 solid weeks. Cambodia only stayed for 5 days, Malaysia was 2 weeks. And boy, oh boy, didn't I enjoy the country. And I'm here to give you just in a nutshell what Malaysia is all about. And if you are coming in, I see there's 4 people now. Please just like so that YouTube can start getting more people to come and watch the videos. So this is still about my travel journey. So yeah, let's start. So I flew directly from Cambodia to Malaysia, and guys, it is recommended if you are traveling, always tackle one I'm trying to think now, what do we call it, continent. Like if you're going to Europe, it's reasonable to move from one country to the next. You can use trains, you can use buses, you can use a plane, ferries. Same thing applies with Malaysia or Asia. For instance, I'm in Asia and I'm traveling all these countries that are close by. So from Cambodia, I went straight to Malaysia and I flew there, and that was the option that I saw. Couldn't see any trains or anything. And I must say, it's much reasonable when you do that instead of now flying from here to America. And excuse me, I decided to group it that way to cut cost. So I got to Malaysia as expected. Hot, but not as hot as Thailand, not as hot as Cambodia. And Malaysia, one thing you need to know, you must always carry an umbrella because it rains basically every day. But the next morning, it is so hot. It's one of those things that you think the rain will be refreshing and it will cool the temperatures down, but it cools them down whilst it's raining. After that, it gets so hot again. So you need an umbrella or a raincoat when you travel to Malaysia. In terms of when I go to the airport, so I traveled at night. I've shared that I find it much reasonable to travel at night. the costs are low as opposed to traveling during the day, night, and early hours of the morning. So that's when I do my travels. So I traveled at night and landed in Malaysia just before 12 in Atagusa. 12 a.m. Is it 12 a.m.? Yes, in the morning. And I had booked accommodation closer to the airport so that I don't stress about where do I now go, transportation, what if there's a letdown, what if there's stories. So it's easier to do that. Book closer to the airport if you land very late, and you don't want to worry, more especially if you don't know the area. That was my first time in Malaysia, so I wasn't gonna take any chances. And then in terms of moving from the airport to the next morning to where I had booked to stay, which is the central center or city center, I used a bus, and I must say, transportation is very, very affordable in Malaysia. I guess because they are producers of petroleum, I think the crude oil, and their petrol is subsidized by government. So if you're using buses, you pay fraction of your price. So from the airport to the city center, it's like just an hour or over an hour, just below an hour, and I only spent like 50 rands to get there, which was awesome, around 50, 60 rands, which was very, very amazing. And then so you don't have to worry about the transport. It is reasonable, and you need to download Grab so that your life is easier, which is equivalent to Uber for transport and also for ordering food if you're gonna order food. But there's always street food, there's always people who start their restaurants or tiny food joints which you can support. So what stood out for me is how reasonable the transport is. And yeah, and then when I got to my hotel and I started mingling with people and I started seeing things, I was taken aback because Malaysia for me was like South Africa. Malaysia has three ethnic groups, which is Chinese, Malay people, and Indian. So it's a multi-racial country as well, just like SA. And what warmed my heart is that you go to an Indian restaurant and you find Chinese people there eating Indian food. You go to a Malay restaurant, you find Indians, you find Malays, you find Chinese. So they are living together in harmony, and they are interrelated in terms of in terms of trying each other's cuisines. So yeah, it's similar to South Africa when it comes to multicultural. But for me, the fact that they tolerate each other and they are living together in harmony it just stood out. Sorry guys, I just want to put back. I'm trying to switch on a light here so that we've got awesome light. So that was like, I felt home away from home, and the fact that most people in Malaysia can speak English made life easier. When I needed to find out where to find this, when I needed to go to some places, I could easily ask where to get here and there. But in hotel, in most cases, there will always be someone who speaks English. It's just that when you are on the road in countries that English is not their native language or their language, they don't even speak English, it becomes a problem. So Malaysia was like SA. People speak English. Everywhere you go, they can assist and they are friendly. And I've made, built relationships. I met an elderly guy in an Indian restaurant, an Indian man who sat, and I had a discussion asking him about the culture, and he told me Malay people, or like the community, is family orientated, so they just spend time with their families on weekends. During the week they'll work, but family comes first, which was interesting. And most people have their own businesses while others still go and work. So that was very interesting. interesting. And also he explained how these different cultures come together and works and live towards the same goal, understanding that they are different but they still respect one another. So what also was interesting was that where I booked, it was central. So the Pavilion, which is one of the biggest malls in Malaysia, they've got a lot of malls. There's a mall where it's only electronics from the first floor to about sixth or seventh floor. So they've got a lot, malls galore. So if we're talking shopping, Malaysia is one of those countries where you just come and shop. But I picked up in terms of food, in terms of drinks, and not so much clothing, that their prices are a bit high, and it makes sense because the rand is lower, is weaker compared to Malaysian ringgit. So if 25 Malaysian ringgit are equivalent to just over 100 rands. So you can just imagine things are costing like 30, 40 Malaysian ringgit a meal, 40 Malaysian ringgit. So you're paying like 150 around there. So I found that food is expensive in Malaysia, and even drinks, those who drink, who take their alcohol, it's quite a bit, based merely because the rand is weaker. If it wasn't for that, I think it would be easier to just be there and have an awesome time. Like normally when us as South Africans go to Thailand, we always have a ball because the rand is stronger there. So yeah, that was Malaysia. And what stood out as well for me was the fact that I found that drivers didn't have much respect for pedestrians. So it felt like you were forced to have a car. If you are on foot, or you are just Johnny Walker, you've got a problem, because they just drive crazily like maniacs, and they rush through and they don't wait. Even if the driver is coming into a parking lot, for instance, normally in SA at home, they'll say you can pass, they'll show you go through. There, they just come in. So where there's a car, you just make sure you're safe. Just wait for them to do their own thing. And even if you press the traffic lights, I just found you wait forever. So it looks like the traffic lights are even programmed to give drivers a right of way, or allow them to just flow more than us as pedestrians. That part was something else for me. But other than that, I had an awesome time, apart from the expensive stuff that I've mentioned, apart from the fact that it is hot, but later on or during the day, while you're thinking it's boiling hot, the weather changes and it rains. So you have to know. And I've recorded 3 videos as promised. I stayed in a 3-star, I stayed in a 4-star, and I stayed in a 5-star hotel. So I'll be uploading those during the course of the week for us to see, and I'll put on the prices, which is something I don't like to do because I always believe it's too personal, and we all travel for different reasons. So it's not about showing this is how much I spend when I travel. It's not a break session. My life is my life, and I know what I do with my money. Whether I misuse it somehow, it's between me and me. I don't like to put price tags, show off this, show off that, because it is so unnecessary. But for the purpose of the video, I'll show how much I spent on the 3-star, and I made sure it is reasonable. It's a proper 3-star. If I hadn't gotten over my fear of hostels, Malaysia is one of the countries with the most awesome, and when I say awesome, I mean clean, central, with all the equipment you can think of, hostels that you can find in the world. So if you want to try out hostels, Malaysia is a place to be. I'm talking Asia. So I was like contemplating, should I go, shouldn't I? And guys, what I've also picked up, which I'll have a separate video about my lessons learned during my travel journey, is that when you are younger, you are able to try out anything and you're okay and you don't have issues. As you grow older, I'm used to a certain way, I'm used to certain standards, and it becomes so difficult. And that's the reason why I'm also traveling, to let go of the comforts, to let go of things that I gotten used to over the year, and be in an uncomfortable situation so that I can be more creative, I can look out and learn so much. And I'm jotting down a lot of things that I'm learning in this journey. Business opportunities, how it's changing me as a person, what I pick up when I have conversations with people. So I'm writing it all down for myself, for my loved ones, for my families, that I will go back and share and say, have you thought about trying this? When I went here, this is how things are done. Maybe it can change your life. So yeah, this was for that point, your hostel, which I'm still working with myself, on myself, by myself. When I'm ready, I'll definitely try out a hostel. So this was a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. I will upload that video and you can check for yourself, because that's how they rated these hotels, and it will give someone, remember, these lives, these videos are for some people who are planning to travel. Someone who will say, oh gosh, I wish I can go to Malaysia. Oh, Malaysia is on my list, our life list or bucket list, whatever you want to call it. Now that Ma has been there, or Tisha has been there, let me see, what will resonate with my family, with myself, when I go to Malaysia. Let me look at the cost. Okay, maybe I'll go middle line and do 4-star, as opposed to, maybe I'll go for hostels, and I'll also have a description to say the hostel that has most rating, how much it actually cost. So yeah, I think that was it. And so 2 weeks was a while, but because I cut cost and try and look at the bargains, and that's the person I am, pocket wise, it wasn't hectic. The only hectic part for me was, I found food, and people always say accommodation takes chunk of your budget when you travel. If you can sort out accommodation, hence some people couch surf, hence some people stay with families to cut the cost of accommodation, because accommodation is your biggest cost. Some people think flights you can sort out, you can find reasonable flights, but accommodation will chow your pockets big time. So yeah, and guys, the food is amazing. Malay cuisine. Nasi lemak is one of their cuisines, which I've tried. Nasi lemak. And they've got Indian cuisines. Guys, when I landed, I tried, and sorry about the noise, they're busy here, which is so annoying, and I'm glad I'm okay, I'm not checking out tomorrow, the day after. I tried the Indian curry, the lamb curry. Oh my word! I just thought to myself, those Indian aunties who always compete about their curries. I make a nice curry than you. I make nice biryani. Can they just chill? Oh boy, that curry was out of this world, and I had it with iroti. But guys, I don't know. I had asked to come in and cook with them, because I wanted to steal the recipes and whatever. But the time they allowed me to come was when I went to another city, which is called Malacca. When you wanna know the Malaysian or the Malay people's culture, the rich in depth, you don't only go to the capital city, which is KL, where I was. You also go to Malacca. So Malacca is rich in culture. There's history. There's old buildings which have been there since Pete fell from the past. So I missed out on that. But I'm certainly gonna get those spices, hopefully, and pack them and go try them at home, because they are cuisines. I've tried Malay cuisine, I've tried Indian cuisine, I've tried the Chinese cuisine. I ate it once because when I was in Cambodia and Thailand, I would have most Chinese cuisine. So I was tired of noodles and soup. And guys, rice is their staple food. So even for breakfast, you're gonna find rice and some curry. You're gonna find noodle soups. So yeah, you don't just get your cereals and your bread and your croissant. You get your rice in the morning. I've eaten rice. I've gained weight because I've tried so much, and now I know it's bad. It's not something that I would like to do, but I'm busy with this so-called intermittent fasting where I eat one meal a day. So I only eat at 4 in the afternoon. I just came back. I think it's even late. I ate today around 6 because I started with the massage. So one meal, and I'm hoping I lose. I doubt, because you must have all meals and snacks in between and fruits and veggies. So this one meal is not gonna cut it, but I've cut down because I get to a country and I always wanna try out their cuisines. Chat said hi, but I don't wanna hide anything. Hello, Lungs. Hello. I'm sure Lungs said hello and disappeared, but and only now I see. I just want to make sure that I've covered. So I've covered food. I've covered cost. That you even when I went to Malacca, I took a bus. Guys, I only paid 13 ringgits, Malaysian ringgit, which is like less than 100 rand, and it was a 2 hour drive with the bus. So yeah, there you have it. There's yeah, transport galore. There's sky trains, there's underground trains. You will not be stranded should you decide to go. And also accommodation, there's all types. There's lots different types of accommodation. You just look at your budget and you choose which one will suit you. There are ones with pools, swimming pools, the other ones without, just basic but clean. And it's important to check your reviews. Oh, how I got to understand, because guys, when you just land in a country you've never been and you have no idea where to start, but you can always ask the receptionist at the reception, where are the places. I don't like to do your touristy places because they are very expensive and they are crowded. And you guys, I'm not a tourist, I'm a traveler. So I mingle with the community. Like now, one of the ladies did my massage. When I came back from my supper, I was sitting there calling people to come in for a massage, and that's the person I am. Now we've exchanged numbers. The one lady is from Japan. Japan is one of the countries I would love to do, not this time around because I need a visa, but when I go to Japan, I know now I've got someone who will guide me and say, try this, try that. So always avoid doing izinto in the hotel. When I came back in this place, they gave me a pamphlet for massages. I'm looking at the amount times 2, not times 2, I'm exaggerating, but it's way higher than the price that I paid or on the streets. So always find your way. Personally, I avoid booking. Maybe I'll do a separate video on how I manage to spend whatever, if I'll ever come with the total figure in my travels and what I used to do. But I do things differently. So what I was trying to say is to understand where to go. You know, where they say there's this mosque, floating mosque, there's this temple, there's this Instagram place. You know, I'm in Bali now, and there's this Instagram place that everyone who comes to Bali goes to. And I've seen someone offers that tour, and they even take you pictures because you just see that Heaven's Gate, then you know, oh, this person was in Bali. So instead of paying a fortune, What also assists is to, when you don't know the starting point, obviously Google is your best friend. YouTubers who've been here, they'll share that information. You'll never go wrong. But if you didn't get time to research, which you should make time, you can always, like, what helped me in Malaysia is a hop on hop off bus, which we do have in SA, the red bus. We have it in Joburg, we have it in Cape Town. I've been on the Joburg one. So that will show you the places of interest. And then, of course, those buses aren't cheap. And Malaysia, guys, I guess maybe in South Africa it's the same. I have never checked. They charge you taxes as a tourist. So there's a tourist tax that you pay. Hotels, you'll see an amount on your booking app, but rest assured, when you get to the hotel, they'll want deposit number one. Some hotels want crazy amount of deposit, but you get it back. But you definitely pay 10 Malaysian ringgit for every night. That was another thing that I was like, no, 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 this is not on. You know, it was a shocker for me because I never had to pay that in Thailand. I never had to pay that in Cambodia. But Malaysia, there's that tourist tax that you pay for your accommodation. So don't leave it out when you calculate. So at the moment is 10 ringgits every night. Obviously, you'll find it goes up annually, like other taxes as well. So the bus, hop on hop off bus, they charge you more as a foreigner as well, but it gives you an idea. You know, Gucci, there's an this here, there's this mosque here, there's a park here. Then you can also decide, you know, what your places of interests, what you love to do. You don't go to a place that will bore you. What I'm not doing personally, Mina, is to go to all the mosques in all the countries. No, I haven't touched even one. Or temples, because you've seen one, you've seen them all. And I know people who love these places back to differ. They'll say that one has ceramic from top to bottom. That one has a Buddha facing left. That one has a gold, what plated top. But I try and say, if I've been to a temple in this country, I don't see a need unless I'm crazy about these temples or am in a mood for temples. So I try and do different activities, and you always have to budget for them because they normally charge in dollars, and you find Gucci from $20 to $100 in between, depending on the activity that you want to do. Malaysia has those Petronas Twin Towers, the tallest twin towers in the world. And I drove past there, I saw them. There was no need for me to go inside the twin tower and stand and take a picture. My hotel room, the view was those twin towers. So I was like, I've seen it, I'm happy. Hallelujah, God bless. So you need to plan around that. But of course, if you traveled all the way to go in and spend that money, do it. Mina Joguti, there's things where I say, okay, I go there and then what? And there are places of interest that I say, for sure, I'm going to this country and I'm definitely gonna do this ABCD. And there's people who go to countries and they do alles. Guys, they come back with the pictures and you're like, oh my God, Saba, well, how much did this person spend? But don't do it for just the pics. It must, and this is what I'm saying, we all are different. It must speak to your soul. And I live my life like that. Not for people, not for pictures. It needs to come from within. Then I don't mind spending. So that was Malaysia. Loved it. Went to mass, to Emmaus on Sunday. Spoke to my priest there. It was amazing, and the Catholic church was like across the road from my hotel. Guys, I had booked in the place. You know, I've got a colleague of mine who enjoys traveling. So we would sit and talk about places. Hey, I've been here. Weren't you shocked when you discovered this and whatever? So we would do that during lunchtime. And she always, when I would say, hey, for me accommodation is a big thing, you know. I wanted clean, I wanted on point and whatever, and I rather cut down on other things. So she would say, no, Mina. And you know her, I once invited her to Facebook after she won the Comrades Ucebile. And Ucebile would say, hi, Mina, girl. And we call each other girl. Mina, girl, for me, I rather book in Hillbrow, you know. She'll say in Hillbrow, and sorry to those who stay there, nothing ugly, but she means a place can be like shocking and dear me karnyana, not in an ugly way, and rather go and do shopping and spend my money for shopping, and I'm okay with that. And I'm like, yo, I mean, I'll be bang, I'll be scared. But can I tell you, but that first accommodation that I was at, you don't know the place. You look at the pictures, you just go with reviews. Some people will tell you, oh, awesome. And you get there, you say, when this person say this is awesome, where is this person from? Gahle gahle, because there's nothing awesome about this place. This place is in shambles, you know. And then you get people who will review a place properly. They'll tell you location in point, it's surrounded by this. Yes, the room is decent, however, it looks like the towels are tired. And I wish people who review places can tell us that detail, but I guess they also don't want to steal from business, you know. They want to respect the person who's trying, but it kills us. So I mean, I went through my reviews as always, and I booked this accommodation, and guys, it was the most affordable I've ever found since I've been on this earth. I've never paid that amount for accommodation in my whole life. That is below my minimum that I pay when I sleep outside my home. And I went, yo, guys, only to find Guti surrounding is Tebile's. And I kept on thinking about her Guti. This time I'm Tebile, because what I see outside is scary. But once you step inside, and it's scary because most businesses have moved out. So it's those places that you can see that maybe because of COVID, you know, a lot of people took a knock, then it was run down, and there's just few hotels that are left now, trying out and fighting and saying we are not shutting our doors. But in the area you would be scared, but you'll find everyone, all the internationals are there, because once you step in, you're gonna see the hotel. It is totally different. And what I was thankful for is that, as crooked and scary as the place looked, it was so central. There's a street in Malaysia, the Julian Alo, if I'm not saying it incorrect, where you find the cuisines, all types, all sorts. There are fruits. Guys, they're big on fruits as well. Oh, my favorite. And it was close by. Pavilion Mall, which you can't go to Malaysia and miss out on the malls, the big one, the awesome one, high class with all the branded stores. Excuse me, it's equivalent maybe to our Sandton Square, or those who know Ama malls, to Abo Menlin, you know. Close by, you know. And there's Little India, so there's an area where Indians showcase their stuff close by. Chinatown close by. So I could reach all these places without a struggle, and I walk and make sure my steps account. I checked today, I didn't do great. I haven't been doing well. I'm sitting on like 7,000 steps. Guys, when I travel, normally I clock 30,000, 40,000. I don't know what's wrong with me. I honestly don't know what's wrong. I guess I'm aging. I don't walk as much, but there was a my most, it says 9,000 or 10,000 steps, which is nothing, guys. I was hoping one day I'll show you that I did 30,000, but we're still traveling. Most probably, I'll get to a country and get so excited and walk the whole day and come back. But boy, oh boy, I do walk. I don't sit in the hotel. I want it decent for when I go and lay my head. But I don't, when people review a hotel and complain about channels, the channel doesn't play English, or there's 3 channels. I'm like, God, can I be like these people? How do they even get to sit and watch TV? I'm not the type of a person, guys. I'm in, out, and back when I'm exhausted. Like, I just got back, and I'm sure now it's around 8 o'clock, and I said, alive for my family. I promised every week, and I couldn't come last week because I was still in Malaysia for 2 weeks. So if I stay in a country for 2 weeks, I'll wait until I leave and then explain everything. I don't want bits and pieces, but I've got videos that I'll be sharing, social shocks and whatever that I came across. I've already uh, um, recorded the videos, so I'll be putting them on. It's just that I don't want to upload every second, third day. No, twice a week is more than enough, or else a algorithm or whatever, if I'm saying it right, you mess it up, but other people say upload. We all are different. I'll stick with twice a week. So yeah, that was Malaysia. Important to be central, then you don't spend too much money taking taxis and you are booked far out. So that would be my tip for you. And always read the reviews, but I'll come with a separate video on that. And what else I picked up in Malaysia? I think I did a separate video regarding things that left me stunned. So I'll share that with you, and I don't want to touch on them. But I had an awesome time. It lived up to my dream, and I will definitely go back to Malaysia very soon, because I thoroughly, it was just like in Bangkok. You see, I got there, got excited, and hey guys, now yoga, tap to retry. Yeah, the internet, maybe I'll leave it. Something went wrong. I think I covered. My children are gone by now.